Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this little gift box armchair. Now I've put a little cuddly toy sitting on it, but obviously you don't have to have him on. I was looking at also lint chocolate bears because I think there are some that might fit on it. It's quite a boxy sofa armchair, but I quite like it and it's quite nice. It's a bit different. So each of these is a little gift box, so you can put things in there, and obviously once you've got everything in, you might want to just put a little bit of glue, a little glue dot in, just so they kind of stick in place, so they're not falling out. You also might want to put a little glue dot here, just if you end up with bagging like mine did. If you wanted to, you could turn them upside down so you don't have this gaping, you don't have that edge. But yeah, it's quite nice. You can obviously change what you want to do. The papers I used on this was the Storyteller pad from first edition from DRK Crafts, which is this one. So this is available on DRK Crafts. If you use my code LouiseMakes, you'll get 5% off your order. So I just used some of those papers, and I deliberately chose kind of the purples and the tealy purples, just to make it kind of look, you know, you could use this for Christmas if you wanted to. But yeah, so that's the project for today. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this gift box, you're going to need quite a few pieces. So I'm going to go through what you need first of all, and then we'll start with all the scoring, whatever. So for the outer piece, you are going to need one piece that is 6 5/8 by 8 3/4. Now I know that's a bit of a weird measurement, but you'll understand why in a bit. You need 2 side arms, so obviously you've got the side arms of the sofa, so those are 5 3/4 by 8. Then you also need one back cushion. The back cushion is measuring 6 1/2 by 9, and then you need one seat cushion which measures 5 1/2 by 7. So we're going to score them. I've done one of the side arms already. So this is one of the side arms already done. So we're going to measure the other one up, score it up, and then score the other pieces. Okay, so here's the outer for the armchair. So this is the one that measures 6 5/8 by 8 3/4. So on this one, you're going to score along the long edge at 1 1/2. And at 7 1/4, and then if you turn it round, you're going to measure. Let me turn it around this way. Doesn't really matter which way you turn it round, because you know. And then on this side, you're going to measure. On the short side, you're going to measure at 3/4 and at 4 1/8. Okay, so that is that piece done. Now, obviously, my scoreboard goes from right to left. You may have one that goes from left to right, which makes more sense. So don't worry if yours, you know, is the wrong way around, whatever. It doesn't really matter, because we can, you know, it's kind of symmetrical. It's not, but it'll work. It'll work. Okay, so next up we're going to go for the back piece. This is the back cushion. So this is the piece that measures 6 1/2 by 9, and on this one we are going to score at 1 1/4. So this is on the short side, and at 5 1/4. Okay, and then along the long edge, you're going to score at 3 inches, at 4 1/4, at 7 1/4, and at 8 1/2. Okay, so that's all your measurements done for that one. Now I have actually added in, so where you've just done your 7 1/4, if you do a score line at 7 3/4 and you just come down as far as the first score line here, so come to here and stop, and do the same at the bottom here, just come up and just stop. That is actually going to be a cut line, but it just shows where your tabs are going to be. It just makes life easier. And similarly, if you turn it round so that your 1/2 inch tab is at the bottom, at the top here, you want to kind of score at 3/4 of an inch and you want to come down to past just literally to the second score line. So I've got a score line here and I've got a score line here, and you want to come just before that, so 3/4 and stop. And then you want to do the same at 5 3/4. Just come down to there. And all this is, you're actually going to cut along these lines. So if you want to, you can draw them in pencil. You just turn it over so you can see, hopefully you can see that a bit better. You can see my score lines a bit better. So if you see here, I've just come down and then I stop where the other line, the second score line is, okay? And that is just an indication of where your tab's going to be. So if you want to, you can draw that on in pencil. It's fine, but I just thought we may as well score it while we're here. So that's that one done. Next up, we need to do this is the side arm. So on this one, I'm going to turn this over because I don't know if you can see my score lines I've already done. So on this one, you're going to score at 1 1/4 all the way top to bottom, and at 4 1/2 all the way top to bottom. Then we are going to turn this, and then we're going to score at 2 1/2 all the way. We're going to score at 3 3/4 all the way, at 6 1/4 all the way, and at 7 1/2. Now, while you've got it in this position as well, where your 7 1/2 is, you want to score at 6 3/4 just as far as the first score line, and then up from the bottom up to the first score line there. Again, these are just tabs. And then if you turn this round, so that whole section is at the bottom, you then want to score at 3/4 and again down past the first score line, stop at the second score line, and also at 5 inches past the first score line, stop at the second score line. Okay, and again, they are just tabs. Now, I don't know how well you can see my score lines on here, but once I start folding and cutting, you'll see. Okay, so that is your side arms. And the only piece left to do is this piece, which I think is the seat cushion. So on this one, if you want to put it into your scoreboard, and you're going to score at 1 1/4 all the way top to bottom, and at 4 1/4. And then if you turn it round, you are then going to score at 2 inches, at 3 1/4, at 5 1/4, and at 6 1/2. And then with it like this, you're going to go at 5 3/4 and score down until you get to that first score line. You can stop just a bit short of it, and the same up from the bottom, just stop short of that first score line. And then turn it with your 1/2 inch tab at the bottom, and you're going to score at 3/4 again all the way down past the first score line, stop just short of the second score line, and again at 4 3/4, same again, so stop just short of the second score line again. So that is all of your scoring done. So now we're going to go ahead, I'm going to start with the outer, and we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish all of our score lines. Right, so this is your outer piece. So if you have it this way round with your 1/2 inch, your 3/4 of an inch section at the bottom, what we're going to do is we are going to cut. Now again, if you want to actually measure it, you can, but you want to go about 1/2 inch up from this score line and just cut in, because this is going to be a tab here. So you're literally going to do like a 1/2 inch roughly. Doesn't matter if it's not, exact. That's a bit wobbly, but it doesn't matter. And the same on this side, like that. And then here we're going to cut all the way down straight, all the way to that first score line. Okay, so you end up with this, and then you want to notch this one out. So notch there and here. You don't want to notch this though, leave that as a straight line. You want to repeat this whole thing again over here. And what I would do is when you're cutting, make sure you cut to this side of the score line. So you're basically cutting the score line out, as it were. So we're going to go all the way down. If you want to use a craft knife, find that easier, you can. And then we're going to notch this out here and notch this out here. Okay, so that is that bottom section there. Then if we come over here, we're going to turn it round completely the other way. So what was at the bottom is now at the top. And here we're going to cut all the way down, straight line, all the way down to there, like that. And the same on this side. And then I'm going to turn this side on, and again we want a tab here. So again I'm just going to eye it, roughly do about 1/2 inch, and then just notch it. It doesn't matter if these tabs aren't exact, because you're not really going to see them, they're just inside. And you can do the same on this side. So cut about, if you want to, you can put your red tape on first, and then that gives you a guide as to how big you need your tab to be. So I'm going to do that like that. Okay, so that should leave you with this. Now, one thing I have discovered, which I quite like to do, is to round these two corners here. So I'm going to fold that down like that, bring in my corner rounder. You don't have to do this, but I just think it makes it look a bit more sofa-y. And we're going to round that edge there, and we're going to round that edge there. Okay. We're also going to round these two here as well, and again you don't have to, but I just think it makes it look a bit more sofa-y and a bit more, you know, a bit nicer. Okay, so we end up with that. So now what we want to do is go ahead and put red tape here and here, and on these two little tabs here. Right, so now with it like that, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the front. This is the front, and we're going to take the backing off of there, and then you're just going to bring this up, bring that up at a nice right angle, and stick that together. If you want to, you can leave this to the end, and then you can kind of fit it around your boxes, but I've discovered that this is slightly bigger than you need it. Obviously it depends on what weight of card you're using. So I'm quite confident it's going to work. So I think what we might do is I might just do the front, and then we will leave the back section. So what will happen is they will come up, and that will come up like that, and that's your kind of like your outer. But I'm going to leave that for now, just to make sure that our boxes definitely fit in it. So we'll put this to one side for now. Right, so let's start with one of the side arms. So here's a side arm. I'm going to turn it over, and hopefully you can see my things a bit better. So I'm going to go ahead now and just burnish and fold and burnish all of my score lines. Okay, so there's all my score lines burnished. The only ones I haven't burnished, obviously, are the ones that are going to be for the tabs. So we're actually going to cut down those now. So what we want to do is we're going to cut all the way along that score line that we haven't burnished. We're going to cut all the way along there. Mine isn't very straight. And then what we want to do is this line here that we have actually burnished, we're going to cut all the way down there like that. And then we're just going to angle this, because these are tabs. And again, just here, angle like that. And then this one here, we're going to angle. Okay, so you end up with that. And we're going to repeat this whole thing on the other side. So you should end up with that. So I'm going to turn this round now. And up here, what we're going to do is we're going to cut straight down here. And we're going to stop at that second score line. Same on this side. And then we are going to cut along that score line that we made, which is like our tab line, as it were. And mine's a bit wonky, but it's fine. And we're just going to angle that in, because these are going to be like the tabs at the top. So actually this is probably needs to be a little bit neater, because you are actually going to see this. So let's just make that a little bit neater. And we're going to do the same on this side. And then the other thing that I like to do is on this bit here, I like to round these edges. Now if you want to, you can just kind of mitre them slightly, but I do like that round edge look. So I'm actually going to use my corner rounder and just round off these edges. So it looks like that. Okay. So now we want to go ahead and put tape just on these 4 tabs here. Don't put them on these. I have made that mistake before. You only want to put them on these 4 here. Right, so then with that, what you want to do, these two little ones here, I'm going to take both of them off at the same time because it's kind of easier to do when it's flat. Just be aware, obviously, the other one is, you know, open and sticky. And then what we want to do is we're going to fold that over, bring this up to make a nice 90-degree angle, fix that in, and the same on this side. And then we're going to fold this in, and that's going to go in there. So we're going to take off the backing there and then fold this up, and then this is going to stick in here like this. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Take the backing off and then just pop that in. Fold that in, fold it up square and stick it down. And then all you need to do is fold these over and pop down the lid, and that should nicely tuck in without too much trouble. So you obviously want to make two of those, so you should end up with two that look like that. So those are your back cushions. Bear in mind, if you're using a right way up pattern like I was, you want to make sure that so basically it would have been this way, so you want to make sure that your pattern is facing side on. Yeah, so that's those two. So let's do the back cushion next. So with this one, we're doing exactly the same as what we've done for the side arm. So if we turn it round, so you've got your tab at the top there, and then your two little lines, and then your two tab lines that way. So we are going to go again down this line here. In fact, let's just fold and burnish first. It makes it easier. So let's fold and burnish all of our score lines. And then we're going to come in and we're going to cut down this score line here in a straight line. And the same on the other side. And again, just make sure you cut that score line out. So what we're going to do first of all, we've done that bit there. So now we're just going to cut all the way along these tabs here. And then we're going to do the same on this side. So you should end up with that. So then turn our attention to the top. We turn it round. We want to cut down straight down this line here. So past your 3/4 inch tab all the way down to the second score line, and the same on this side. And then you're going to cut across the score line you haven't burnished, which is your tab score line, and you need to be a bit more exact with your cutting on this one. And then we're going to notch these little tabs out again. Don't notch them out too much because these are what's going to hold the lid shut. So you want a little bit, but not loads. And like we did before, I'm just going to go ahead and round the edges of these, of the tab at the top. So you should end up with that. So then, which is the same as we did before, we're going to put red tape on these 4 tabs here. And then we're going to do the same as we did with the other box. We're going to take these 2 little the tape off the backing off the 2 little tabs, and then we're going to fold them in, fold it up, stick it down nice and square. Same on this side. And then we just need to take the tape off the backing off here, and then fold it in and stick it nice and square on there like that. And the same on this remainder one. Then you're going to fold your side tabs in, fold that over and stick that in. So that is your back cushion done. Okay, so I'm going to put that over with the others. And then last but not least, we've got the seat cushion. So again, let's go ahead and fold and burnish all of our score lines. And then we're going to do exactly the same as we've already done. So we're going to come, so if you have it again with your little 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch tab at the top, your 2 lines and then your other lines there. And we're going to cut along there again, exactly the same as what we've done for all the other boxes. Now at this point, I just want to quickly show you an alternative with your tape. So you know before where we've notched all these out and whatever. If you want to, you can go ahead and put tape on here first, and then do all your cutting out. It just saves you having to angle your tape, because you might have noticed where I have kept turning, like, you know, put the tape at the top and then I've put the tape at the bottom and then I put the tape at the top and I've moved it around. It's because I'm having to angle the tape when I cut it so I don't end up with a bit left over, so like hanging off the edge. So if you want to, this makes things a little bit easier. You can go ahead, just add your tape on to those two pieces there, like that. Then you cut up your score line that you haven't burnished. And then you can go ahead and notch these out, and you're automatically cutting your tape and your tab at the same time, which means you've got tape coverage all the way to the edge of your tab, and you're not having to cut bits of tape. You're only having to cut 2 bits of tape rather than 4. So then at the top we're going to do the same as we did before. If we turn it round, you're going to cut straight down again past the first line to the second line, and then you're going to cut along that line that you've scored but not burnished, and then you're just going to notch those tabs slightly. So then take the corner rounder if you want to, and we're just going to corner round that top bit there. And then we're going to stick it together exactly the same way as we've done with all the other boxes. So we're going to take off the backing off the small tabs, stick those down, and then take the backing off these and stick those down. And then you should be able to fold that over, stick that down, and that should hold in place. Right, so if we bring all of our boxes in, okay, so what's going to happen is you've got your 2 side cushions. So these are going to fit in there like that. And I can already see that that is going to fit. So I'm actually going to, I think I'm going to stick this first and then add the boxes in. Okay, so there's your outer. And then we want to take our side cushions. And if you want, if yours is gaping a little bit like mine is, you might want to maybe put it the other way around, or you might want to just stick that in with a little bit of tape just at the top there so it doesn't gape quite so much. But they're going to go like that. Your back one, which you made like this, actually is going to go this way up. Okay, so you made it this way round. You actually want it this way up, and that's going to go in the middle there. And then your seat cushion is going to, so obviously it was that, that's where your lid is. It's going to fold like that, and it's going to sit in the middle there. And so there you have your little armchair. Now if you want to, you can make little cushions for it, but I think I'm going to leave mine like that. I had thought about trying to find a chocolate teddy bear that I can get to sit on the cushions, and obviously if you want to add little extra things you can, but it's quite a cute little armchair. And obviously, as I say, you can decorate it however you want to. If you want to, you can make little covers that go over the top, so you've almost got like a blanket, almost like a little throw on it. But yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite boxy. I did see one that had like curved arms on, which looks way nicer, but I'm not quite sure how. It's just a lot of faff. I really didn't have the mental brain space to have a go with that, so I've made mine quite boxy. So there you go. So that is the armchair. So I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and we will see you again next time. Bye.